said welcome to my show.
Jalen Waddle weaving his way for his first touchdown.
And here's Chase, and he'll score.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and this weekend one of the biggest rivalries in college football is happening, the Tigers versus the Crimson Tide. But what makes this rivalry even more important this year is the fact that LSU is number 1 and Alabama is number 2. The winner of the Alabama-LSU game decides who will be number 1, who will go to the SEC championship, and who could enter the playoffs and win the national championship.
Mr. Hatch, Alabama has always been one of those dominant teams, especially since Saban has started coaching. What do you think makes this game different than other games y'all have played this year?
Well, obviously, it is a big game. It's the biggest game that we faced this year. It's the biggest team we faced this year. I think the edge that we have this year rides with whether Tua Tagovailoa plays or not. If he's in the game, I think he's our game changer. If he's unable to play, I think our outcome might be a little bit less than what we expect.
So, y'all's quarterback, Joe Burrow, number 1 in the Heisman race. I personally think he's going to win. How do you think he's affected y'all's football team and football teams all around?
Well, the thing about Joe Burrow is that he came from Ohio State and we got him last year. And, Urban Meyer said he threw like a girl at Ohio State, that he wasn't good at all. And even last year, he wasn't that good. He improved. And beating Georgia really made people start looking at him. But he's really improved this year. He is number 1 front runner right now. Do I think he'll get it? I think if we beat Alabama, he has a really big shot at getting it. I think he is the reason our team is doing so well. If you took Joe Burrow out of the LSU offense, I don't think we'd be in the top 4. We might be number 9 or 10, but not as good as we are right now.
It is now week 11 in the college football season. How do you think Alabama needs to step up both offensively and defensively to get this edge in the game?
Offensively, we need to do a better job of getting the running backs in the game. That's been a strength of Alabama over the years, and I feel like that they're a little bit lacking in that area. The wide receiver play is very dominant this year, so we've relied on that maybe a little too much. Our defensive effort has been a little bit off. As in Alabama's past, the defense has kind of carried a lot of our stuff in the past. And now that the offense has kind of awakened, it would be good to see them just not have to rely so much on offense and maybe let the defense get them off the field a little bit. So it would be nice to have some help from that side of the ball.
Who do you think are three key players in this game?
I'd have to say Joe Burrow. As I said, he makes our offense what it is. Number 2, I'd have to say Grant Delpit. He is a safety on defense, and he can play any position. He's a safety, but he can play as a corner. He can play as on the D-line. He can do anything, really. He's an amazing player. And then 3, I'd have to say Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's our running back, and he's really improved since the start of the season. At the start of the season, he wasn't getting much playing time, but now, he's running up the stats, and he's doing a great job.
As an Alabama fan, Alabama's been very dominant. Who do you think your key players in this next game will be?
If I had to focus on 3 key players, obviously Tua being number 1. If he's not out there, everything changes. Number 2, I would focus probably on Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs has a set of wheels that is just remarkable. He has a whole nother gear. When it kicks in, he's off to the house. And the 3rd player I would look to would be Anthony Jennings on defense. He is the signal caller. He's the one that everybody looks to get the defense right. I would love to see him maybe even have a pick 6 and maybe really put his signature on this defense. I think that would be a great thing for us to make this happen.
Kyle, so you're, as an LSU fan, they're very dominant this year. They're now number 1 in the AP rankings. This hasn't happened for a couple years. How do you think they've gotten to this point this year?
Well, I mean, a difference between past seasons and this season is that we really have a passing game. Joe Burrow, he's a great player. He can pass the ball really well. And a few weeks ago, we started putting the running game into our offense, so it's like our offense is now complete. There's a few things we can fix on the offensive line. But, I mean, we've played 3 top 10 teams, Texas, Auburn, and Florida, and all of those were pretty big wins for us. I mean, Auburn has really good defense. They're stout. At the time, Texas's offense was known for being pretty good, and Florida, Dan Mullen's a great coach, and he knows how to play the ball well with his team.
Kyle, Mr. Hatch, thank you for being on the show, and we appreciate your input on this game.
Go Tigers!
Roll Tide.